WagerTalk TV. My name is Andrew McInnis. Oh, I don't know if we're live right now. All right, we'll take two here, trying again. I'm not sure we went live the first time. That's the first time that's happened, Dave, so I'm not going to get too frustrated with it. This is WagerTalk TV. My name is Andrew McInnis, joined once again by Dave Cokin. It is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Over at Sports Memo, Jared Smith has a top-rated play up, and myself, Nick Borman, and Rob Vino all have plays up for $2 at WagerTalk.com. It's the first time I've ever done that at WagerTalk.com, so I just want to get that out of the way, do some housekeeping chores here, get that out of the way, and we'll move forward here, getting into the KBO. This is the KBO betting show. It is Tuesday. We're talking about plays for Wednesday morning. Dave, another winner for you this morning.
Yeah.
How are things with you?
It was a pretty easy winner. My side fell behind briefly 2-1. Then they hit a 3-run homer, and it was clear sailing from there. 7-2 win for the Kia Tigers. I have one play today. It's all just one play. I don't play a lot of games. I liked about 3 or 4 different games. You'll hear about them here on the show, but didn't get the price I wanted on a couple of them. And, I'm pretty diligent or insistent maybe when it comes to getting the right price. But I do have one game that I put up. It's $9 at WagerTalk.com. And hopefully the good results will keep on coming. It's been pretty solid in KBO. And I think there's some interesting games to look at tonight.
Definitely. I think it's a pretty good card here today. So we'll get things going. Like you said, find Dave's one play at WagerTalk for just $9. And, he's been hot, so might as well ride the train and keep things going. But without further ado, we'll start in rotation order. Doosan Bears, KT Wiz. Dave, I'll start with this one here. I mean, we saw a 12.5 run total, and now I'm seeing 13. And you mentioned off the air, we saw it was heavily juiced up. It got juiced up quite a bit to, the minus 130, 140 range. Now seeing at 13. I've done my research on this game. I'm excited about this one. It should be one of those ones that's just entertaining to watch, to say the least. I'll get your opinions here. I mean, first and foremost, two guys that they're just not throwing the ball well whatsoever. And not just that with these teams, is that if you can find it properly and you have the right research tools, these bullpens are both horrible. I mean, the high sevens for both these bullpens. It's not just going to be the starting pitchers that are going to start, make things worrisome for you guys. If you're liking the under, I'm assuming a lot of people aren't in love with an under in these two teams. Doosan, you mentioned it in the show yesterday, Dave. Their road overs continue. I believe it's now 8-2, their last 10 road overs. And KT has been putting the runs up at home. Your thoughts on this one here, side and total?
Well, I've got Doosan at 12-1 over on the road. And, excuse me, the Wiz 9-3-1 to the over at home. And you've got two weak pitchers. You've got a 5 versus a 4, basically, as far as their pecking order in the rotation goes. They both had big troubles with base runners. Lee, 21 2/3 innings, 37 base runners. So 21 2/3 innings, 36 base runners. That's a lot. And so you'd think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and obviously the odds makers are making you pay for it. And by the way, this is just a gripe that I have with some people. I'm not going to mention any names. It's not with our company. But, I mean, I'm looking at somebody's plays today, and they posted that they really like the over in this game. They post over 12. There was never an over 12 that I saw on this game. Circa is basically first up in terms of a widely available as far as I know. And they posted 12.5 with the over juiced minus 20. And all it's done is gone up. I'm seeing, still seeing some 12.5 over minus 20. Also seeing some 13. In fact, one of the popular offshore places is 13 with the over still juiced.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took me off the game. I don't want any part of the under. But it has all the earmarks of a game that's going to be extremely high scoring.
Definitely, and I wanted to just kind of take a look at a couple of stats that I wrote down here, and you mentioned it actually. You're correct with Doosan. 11 of their 12 road games going over the season, 9-3-1 to the over for KT home games. So just those two stats alone. But for me, like I said off the get-go, the most promising thing about this wasn't even just the two poor starters. It was the horrible bullpens. The Bears had a team bullpen of 7.64, a whip of 1.64, and the Wiz, a bullpen of 7.52. And Dave, you've heard me mention this like a lot of times, but the fact that during that starting span to start the season off when they were 1-7, the Wiz, a lot of the games, and you mentioned it yesterday saying you think they could be on the uprise. I watched the show back again. If they got their bullpen act together, a lot of the games they lost early on in the season was just from an absolute collapse, and we're seeing Chan Lee taking the mound for the Bears Wednesday morning. He hasn't looked over 21 plus innings. He's given up 21 runs and 32 hits, with 11 of those hits being extra bases. So I mean, I'll be looking to fade this guy here, averaging just 5 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched with a 6.32 FIP. The thing is like you mentioned, Dave, these guys we're seeing a high total here, but it's not for no reason. I mean, it's definitely
it's justified. The tough part is now you got to get 14 runs to win the game.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's a lot. So it took me off it, but I have no problem passing on a game that I liked if I just don't get the right price, and that's what happened here. If it had been 12, I would have fired on the over. And
a rookie. Couple names I'm having trouble pronouncing today here, Dave, but I'll call him just Jun here. 3-1 record. But one thing I wanted to point out that was important for me to mention in this one is a lot of times you see some hidden stats or some false stats, as I like to call them. So he's 3-1 on the season, but he's been bailed out by some runs.
Oh, yeah.
AT, And
look at his ERA.
Yeah. Oh, for
it's
sure.
over 7.
Yeah, 7.06, 1.66 WHIP. 13 earned runs and 10 innings of work so far in the season, but he's 3-1.
Because he's on a good offensive team.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny. You see that, obviously I'm from Canada, Dave, so I'm a Jays guy, or not obviously, I guess. I'm a big Jays fan. And we used to see that a lot with Marcus Stroman. We'd have these the awesome pitchers heading to the mound, and they'd, maybe give up a few runs, and somehow the Jays would still lose. But Stroman would give up 4 or 5 runs, and the team would rally around him. I'm not saying this is a stat to follow, but sometimes in this guy's case, your team just scores when you're out there.
Well, they pretty much score when anybody's out there. These are the 2 highest scoring teams in the league, so it should be entertaining. Unfortunately, it's not the ESPN game tonight. That is the Hanwha. I guess they scheduled these in advance because I don't know why else you put the worst team in the league on. But anyway, that's the TV game tonight.
Next game up, SK Wyverns taking on the NC Dinos. We're seeing the Dinos as pretty heavily favored here, but nothing too crazy. SK Wyverns, a hot team right now in the league. They put down the Hanwha Eagles in a sweep. Coming off a good game yesterday or this morning, I guess I should say. The most important thing for me to mention, an impressive thing about this team, because I think it's very easy for us to get on here and just say, oh yeah, Dave, they beat the Hanwha Eagles. However, they've scored 7 runs on average during this winning streak.
So they started hitting. Well, their American guy, whose name is escaping me right now, has started to really hit, and that's huge in these lineups because they're usually hitting second or third, and you got to get production out of those spots. And the Wyverns are definitely coming around. It's an interesting matchup tonight. You got Lee versus Choi or Ch. And I would give the pitching edge to the Wyverns here. It would not shock me if they win this game again. I actually think this could be a high-scoring game. Considered the over. Didn't consider it hard. I mean, I just didn't really come up with a strong opinion in this game. But if I were betting it, I would take the dog.
Yeah, I mean, looking at yesterday's game, this Dinos team scoring 2 runs, we can't really sit here and say that's something that we've seen a lot of so far in the season. So, it's very easy to talk about bounce back scenarios, but it's also one thing to go ahead and look at Lee, and he hasn't pitched, a lot.
Only 8 2/3 innings, and the other guys only pitched 3 innings plus. So, and that's probably why I stayed out of the game, Andrew, because I just don't have enough. Mm-hmm. Data on these 2 pitchers.
Yeah.
But I will say that Lee has been pretty impressive in his short number of innings, 8 2/3, only 4 hits, couple of walks, 8 strikeouts. These are good numbers. And good pitching still beats good hitting. So I think you can make a case for the dog here.
Yeah.
I have not ruled out adding this one.
I like to always admit when I'm wrong on a game and when I lost just as much as a winner, Dave. And I had the Dinos yesterday minus 1.5 runs, and the simple thing for me was I just thought that SK would be riding a high off that sweep and then go ahead and face the number one team in the league, and they kept it going.
Well, I've always been one. I don't like playing into streaks, and they'd won 4 in a row. Now they won 5 in a row. It's kind of like when we get to the Hanwha game tonight. I mean, I think they might be the right side in this game, but I'm not playing on a team that's lost 9 straight. So I mean, when I looked at that game yesterday, it's like, well, I can see all the good points of the Dinos, but the other team's won 4 in a row. They're feeling real good about themselves right now, and they're getting a price to boot, and it turned out to be the right side. They could very well be the right side tonight. The Dinos are due for a little bit of regression because not that they're a very good team. But, nobody plays 750 ball all season. And it could be that they're going to give back a few here.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take a small shot here. Not my favorite play of the day, but take a small shot on the over in this game. I think the Dinos bounce back with a couple runs at least, and SK keeps things going. Next game on the dock here for us, Samsung Lions and LG Twins. It's been interesting, first of all, just learning about these two teams, looking at the pitching from both these teams. I cashed the first half under, and I had a little bit on the full game under as well between these two. We saw a 2-0 game. Samsung took care of business, but it was a great pitching duel. What are your thoughts on this one here as we get a new day? Like you said, Dave, new day, new pitchers, new matchups. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I'll talk about Chad Kelly first, who has rounded into form. I think he was showing some rust early on and wasn't sharp, but he's looking like one of the better pitchers in the league, and he's the number one starter in this league. So he's rolling now. His numbers are coming down. And actually, they weren't that bad to begin with. His FIP is 2.54. So he had some bad luck as much as anything. His batting average on balls in play is 355. So he hasn't been real fortunate. I think he can contain this offense. The other side sends this rookie out who pitched what looked like a good game in his debut. 5 innings, no runs. But if you look into that game a little more, and I watched that game, he was really fortunate. They had base runners all over the place. 4 hits, 4 walks, only 1 strikeout. I think that's a fool's gold performance, and I think he's going up against a lineup that he's going to have a lot of trouble containing here. So the Twins are big favorites in this game, and with good reason.
Yeah, rightfully so. He's making his second KBO start here. Yu Dong, and I think this is just first of all just a good spot for the Twins here, and. Kelly, I think he's going to be one of the better guys in the league. I think he's definitely settling in. He's looked better, and I'm going to keep saying this until really everything gets into form. But a lot of stats right now for some pitchers, it looks a little bit worse than it might be, or for some it looks better than it might be. And I think for him, it's only going to get better for him as it goes. And I wanted to bring this up because, Dave, yesterday I mentioned it to you and you corrected me with a number, but it's now been updated to officially 80% of games are being won by margin. So officially updated. So, I mean,
97 and 25.
97
of the 122 games have been decided by 2 more runs.
Yeah, so it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And, Kelly giving up 4 runs over his last 18 innings, so striking out 19 and walking only 6. He's not giving up too many walks either, Dave. He's not making life easy for the batter.
No, he's always been a guy that throws strikes. Those strikes got hit in Major League Baseball. They're not getting hit here. He's an interesting guy. I mean, I followed him since he was drafted. He was a two-way player. Coming out of school, the Red Sox drafted him, so obviously, I'm a Red Sox fan, so I paid attention to it. And they weren't sure what to do with him when they drafted him. But, they drafted him really high, thinking that, well, he's either going to be a hitter or a pitcher. And it turned out that he was, a jack of all trades and a master of none at the big league level. But if he can put together another good year in KBO, I would not be surprised to see him get signed by somebody next season in the major leagues and maybe get a shot at rejuvenating his career in the States.
Well, I was going to ask you that. I mean, it's very open-ended question here, but, telling some friends and family members of mine that I'm doing a KBO betting show, a lot of people are asking me, what's the drop-off? and we've talked about it before about how it's definitely way, way below the MLB. But some of these players, they go over to the KBO and they might have a plan to stay just 1 year, and then they end up staying there for a while. But look at Thames, certain guys like that can go over there and do really well and come back. I mean, what do you think? If you're struggling in the MLB, you go over there and kill it. Are you going to come back? Or are you going to look to try and get paid in Korea? What's your point?
No, everybody's plan is to try and get back to the major leagues. It's the major leagues.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the ultimate no-brainer. I mean, if you're going to get a shot at a major league contract, you're going to take it.
Yeah, yeah. But
the goal of most of the players from Korea is to get a look at a major league contract. Everybody wants to play in the big leagues. You're not, if you're playing pro baseball, your goal is not to play in the KBO.
No, I think I could see a couple young pitchers right now. The guy that pitched yesterday actually for the Twins, the 18-year-old, I could see him having a bright future. I mean, he's just 18 and outstanding stats and throwing some tough stuff, but I just don't know how easy it is for these guys, even if it's
not easy.
Lights out.
That's why there's not a lot of guys from Korea who have done real well pitching in the major leagues. Ryu is obviously an exception to that rule. He's a great pitcher, and he should help your team this year. No, I mean, obviously these guys are all looking to get paid while they're there, but the goal is to get back to the States and be in the majors.
Yeah, definitely. Quick little shout out here to Chaz. We have Elliot in the chat box. Repulate Gaming joining us. West Coast, Brian Watson, a loyal follower of WagerTalk. Once again, check out Rob Vino. He has a play loaded for NFL Week 1. That just goes to show he's been doing his research. He's ready to go. It's a total, I believe.
He had an amazing football season last year.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely amazing. I don't know what the percentage was offhand, but Rob had a phenomenal 2019 season. So hopefully he'll keep it going this year.
And Nick Mormon, he's been great during this past couple of months. One thing I got to give some credit to, Dave, with these soccer handicappers, they don't just handicap one league, and they don't just dabble around. They make sure they're studying and researching, whether it's in Belarus or if it's Russian, if it's Korean, no matter Czech Republic. I saw Carmine talking about today. They know what they're talking about because they're showing up on podcasts, on WagerTalk TV. They're not just doing a couple sentences of write-ups. They're actually putting in some work. And so
you're not going to win at anything if you don't put in the work. So,
and they
do
really well.
Job. That's one thing you won't have to ever worry about getting from me is soccer picks. I can't watch a game. I can't.
I've learned to appreciate it a little bit more.
I have not. It bores the living shit out of me. I'd rather watch curling.
Hey, as a Canadian, I'm happy to hear you say that.
Curling is chess on ice, and I've always found chess to be an interesting game. I suck at it. I'm not a good chess player, but to me, it's really interesting. I like the strategy. What's that?
Have you curled before?
No. No. Kidding? I live in Las Vegas.
All right, take it a shot. Lotte Giants, Kia Tigers here. Lotte, we can make so many jokes about them every single day, but this is a team that they just can't score. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to ask Dave about it. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to ask you.
I was going to say the same thing. Well, they finally broke their homerless streak last night. They'd gone 12 games without a homer. And they hit 2 last night, but those were the only 2 runs they scored. So tonight, I like the under in this game, and this is a good example of why, and they might win. And then I'll say, oh, well, I should have had that. But this is a good example of why you make a number and you stick with it and don't settle for less. If this game comes 9.5, I'm definitely on it, under. If it comes 9, I'm still on it. But it came 8.5. And unless I'll check now to see if anything's happened with that. No, it's 8.5. The over slightly juiced at one spot. The under slightly juiced at what I consider the sharpest book on the planet. I would consider the first 5. Again, these are not widely available, so I'm giving it out here only. Okay, will not be an official play for me because I'm not going to sell something that most people can't get. But the first 5 under 5, I think is playable. Sampson is still on a pitch count for the Giants. He looked sharp in his first start. Now, and what's interesting, I will take a minute to talk about what happened. He was slated to go 50 pitches, which is probably 3 innings. And he pitched very well in those 3 innings. He talked the manager into letting him go back out there for the 4th inning. And he got roughed up. That tells me 2 things. Number one, the manager's not in control of the team because you don't let a player talk you into going out. If it's one thing, if we're talking about the 8th inning of a big game and your best pitcher says, look, I still got my stuff. I'm going to go back out there. Okay. This is the 4th inning in the guy's first start of the season. You don't let him go back out there. If you said 50 pitches, then stick to the 50 pitches. Well, anyway, he didn't do very well in the 4th inning, and that was the end of it. But Sampson was sharp. He'll go a little deeper tonight. I would expect maybe 70, 75 to 80 pitches. Yang's on the mound for the Tigers. He isn't having a real good season. Okay, he's struggled a bit, but this guy is a legit number 1 starter in KBO, and he's facing an offense that he should be able to bounce back against here. So I think I don't know about the back end of this game because then you're going to get into the bullpens, but I think first 5 under 5 is very playable.
This is a night for me, Dave, where I'm looking at a couple dogs. Really, I think that Hanwha could be a decent shot, and I honestly think the Giants could be a decent shot here. And Samsung holding a 5.4 ERA, and I think that he's got some good stuff, and I think that he'll be one of the best pitchers or top pitcher in this league soon enough. Once he gets some stuff together, like you say, they'll pitch count again here today. The pitcher that we're seeing, though, for the Tigers, I don't think he's throwing too much great stuff. I mean, he got knocked around by the KT Wiz. A lot of people are getting knocked around. 11 hits, 6 runs, over 5 innings of work. Look, at the price that we're getting here, favorites have been looking pretty good in the KBO still so far. But right now, if I can get, plus 135, 140, I like the under as well, just like yourself. And like you said, it's not widely available. If you can get a plus a half or a money line on the first 5 innings, I think Sampson wins this battle. And we're seeing stats right now.
I would disagree on this side. If I were playing this game, I'd be on the Tigers. Young's a good pitcher. I know he struggled a bit this season, but this guy's got a good track record. And again, the problem here is that Sampson's not going to be out there for long. What are you going to get 4 or 5 innings? So now you got the back end, and after that, I mean, the Kia offense is a lot better than the Giants' offense. So to me, if you're looking at the Giants, and I could be dead wrong on this, but to me, if you're looking at the Giants, you got to be on first 5. I would not want that full game.
And stat here: when 2 foreign pitchers square off, the under is 10-8-1. Foreign versus Korean-born starting pitchers matchups. So the import teams holding the edge, winning 32 of 54 contests. So nothing really crazy, but definitely something worth a look. And like you said, I mean, it's worth a look, but maybe not in this game with a guy that's not going to be pitching for too long and for a team that's barely even scoring. So I think you and I both are on the same page as far as the total goes.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of the number. And I was thinking about you when I was looking at this number because I was like, man, I love this. I want to get the under here, but I don't like the number that I'm getting at all.
No, and I'm not playing under 8.5 full game. I think under 5, first 5 is a reasonable play. I'm not saying you go nuts on it, but I think it's got a good chance to cash. And that leaves us with,
sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, that leaves us with the game that has seen the most dramatic line movement today.
Yeah. Kiwoom, Heroes, Hanwha, Eagles. I'll throw it right back to you, Dave.
A big swing in this game, really big. I mean, I don't care what league you're in. When you got to, let me punch up my screen here. This game opened. Circa put it up at minus 110. Eagles favored minus 110. It's now at that book. It's minus 125 the other way. Penny actually opened it at 135. Heroes come back down to 125. So 125 looks like the right number. That's still a big swing. So looking at the game, it's going to be a bullpen game for the Heroes. Mm-hmm. They've got Joe pitching. He's only got 1 inning. So they're basically having to start him here. He would be a number 6 starter, if you want to call it that. So they're going to use a bunch of relief pitchers tonight. And they face, by far, the ace of the Eagles staff in Sopold. And Sopold has pitched well so far. His numbers are solid. 34 innings, about a hit an inning, but not many walks, not many strikeouts. He gets a lot of soft contact. But no, the FIP 2.65, I believe it is. He's been good. I think this is a game where the Eagles have a very good chance to be ahead early. But the question is, will they be able to go the full route and finally win one? I thought the Eagles were the right side here. I was going to consider them. But again, they've lost 9 straight games. I'm not playing on a team that's lost 9 straight games. It's as simple as that. Definitely.
I mean, and bullpens here, Kiwoom, 5.0 ERA, Hanwha, 6.37 ERA. The thing is about what you said there about looking to back a team like that, to me, you have to be getting tremendous value. Mm-hmm. I mean, things could be adding up. You could be getting a good pitcher. They could be hitting the ball well. But, what I like to use is the old-fashioned, pretty, cliche term. I'm not going to jump out of bed to bet this Hanwha Eagles team right now. So not too excited about it. But, pitching matchup. How do you pronounce his last name again there, Dave? Sopold?
Sopold.
Sopold, yeah. So, I thought he had some good stuff. I think he's definitely their top guy or one of their best guys. But will it be enough? I'm not really sure. Hanwha is going under left and right, though, Dave. So, I mean, that could definitely continue here tonight. 8 of their 10 home games have gone under, and they're home all week this week. So take that as you will, but they're home all week. Hope you guys have learned a couple things and gotten a few picks from Dave and I. Dave has a pick, a top-rated pick at WagerTalk.com, $9 from him. I'm up there at WagerTalk as well for $2 Tuesday. Myself, Robbie Vino, and Nick Borman. Thanks so much for joining. Everybody in the group chat. Somebody's asking a question here. I'll throw it at you. What's first U.S. sports coming back? What are we going to see first?
I don't even think about that. I don't care. Whichever one shows up first, I guess.
I'm hoping for hockey. I'm hoping for hockey.
I haven't even thought about it. When there's games scheduled, then I'll think about it. So I don't know. I don't care either. I just want them back.
I want them back too.
Somebody else says, Brian says, are we getting Canadian football? Highly unlikely, I would say.
Yeah, I did an interview with Dave Naylor of TSN, and this was a little like a day or two before the commissioner had his big release, and he said September or nothing. But I think if they can get a hub city, it would be not bad. But the funny part is, money wise and financially, they actually might lose more money.
If they come back in September, they will lose their ass.
Yeah,
they will absolutely lose their ass. I would question the business wisdom of anybody in the CFL who thinks it's a good idea to come back in September, because there's like another football league that will be in action at that time, and Canadian football, CFL's done well in terms of getting some attention, particularly from the betting market, when nobody else is playing.
Exactly.
But you put them up against college and pro football, they're going to be on. I mean, they won't get any volume at all, and that's a league that needs betting. I know they'll get some decent crowds, maybe north of the border. I don't know, but I don't even know if they'll do that, because if they're up against the NFL and college football, I got a feeling Canadians are also going to be watching the NFL and college football.
And not even just college football and the NFL, but if NHL playoffs are going on, you better believe that if the Edmonton Oilers are in the second round of the playoffs, they're going to watch that over the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And in Toronto, they don't watch the Argonauts even if nothing else is going on. So
definitely. All right, Dave. Good show. Good luck with your play, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Good luck.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the KBO Betting Show.